Welcome to Totally Clutch, the Clutch Businesses podcast and blog. Today, we're going to be talking about why you should start a business during a recession. We'll have a special guest with us that we'll talk to, and we'll also be sharing some resources for anybody that's interested in becoming a budding entrepreneur. So, if you haven't heard, it's officially been announced that the U.S. has been in a recession since February of this year. And I imagine that if I told you that during this time, during a recession, can actually be a really good time to start a business, you might think that I was absolutely crazy. But the data actually supports that. And so now could be a really good time for you to dust off that business plan that you've been carefully crafting over the last couple of years. I'm Angie Beeman with Clutch Businesses, and the last recession that we had in the US ran from 2007 to 2009, and there were some really incredible businesses that started during that period that are still successful today and are household names. So one that comes to mind is Marie Forleo. She started her business in 2008, so right in the middle of the last recession. She works with small businesses to help coach them to build businesses that align with their value systems and solve really great problems in the world. So she's received accolades from Oprah, from Tony Robbins, from Richard Branson, and she runs one of her programs is called B School, and she has helped 55,000 people develop their businesses through that program. And just doing some quick math with that, she's made over $100 million just with that program alone. So that's no small feat and not a small chunk of change. And she's still successfully running that business to this day. Some other businesses that were founded during the last recession were Airbnb, TaskRabbit, which is women owned and founded, Spotify, Drybar, Khan Academy, just to name a few. And again, all of those are businesses that were started during the last recession and are still successfully running today. So with that paving our way to this conversation, I want to welcome Tara Skrudinsky to the show, to the episode. So Tara runs Career Fit Consulting, which works with women to transition into new careers or to get more out of their current careers. Welcome, Tara.
Thanks, Angie. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So, Tara, do you want to give us a bit about or share with us a bit about your background?
Sure. Yes. So I started out as a career coach about 5 years ago, and I was actually making a pretty big shift in my career. I was leaving education management and wanted to find something that worked better with, my lifestyle. I had just started a family, and I wanted more flexibility, and I really wanted to focus on using my strengths. So I did a lot of research. I did some informational networking, and I landed a position at the YWCA here in Boulder as a career coach and managing their career services program. And it was through that position that I really found my love and passion for helping people, in their career, just finding out, what drives them, what motivates them, how their, strengths and values and interests and skills all align. And so I decided that eventually I wanted to start my own business. And I knew that the funding at that position was going to end. So I got into outplacement consulting, which has really been a wonderful experience. And so I work with people who are getting laid off at large companies. And that has been so rewarding. And people are really grateful that they have support and someone to help them and coach them through this time, just because, they may feel just really lost or really stuck.
Totally.
And focusing on some strategies and setting some goals and providing that support really does make a difference. And that was my goal. I wanted to make a difference. So that's a little bit about how I got started and kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I didn't know that. So I started at the YWCA too, right out of college. That was one of my first. I had an internship in public policy, and then it transitioned into, we were in a similar time to what we're in now. And so it transitioned into a different role there. But yeah, such a great organization, and so cool that that's where you found your first love, or not your first love, but something that you've carried with you too. That's awesome. Very cool. And so the reason that Tara's here today, I forgot to mention, is that she started her business earlier this year. So she's right in the midst of growing and building something that she's dreamed of for a while. And so Tara, can you share with us why you decided right now was a good time to make that leap?
Yes, absolutely. Well, and so once COVID-19 hit and everybody was really concerned about, their jobs, losing their jobs. People were going through, layoffs and furloughs and just really unsure about what was going to happen. I heard just a lot of feedback from women in my network that, now is the time to really provide support for people in a job search, and especially women. That is, my focus. And sort of what I'm specializing in is women in career transition. And, the unemployment rate just skyrocketed, right? From 2.5% to 10.5%. And so I thought, if my business is going to succeed, now is the time for me to start it. There's a lot of people out there that need help, and I can do it. So I actually started just doing some pro bono work. Just to help people who couldn't afford to pay for it. Again, just to build my business and my clientele. And that's been working out really, really well. And I've been enjoying just helping people, just navigate the transition and the uncertainty in their job search.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important right now. And, I think you bring up a really good point. So we do have, we're going to be touching on a few of these things, but we do have a full list available for anybody that's interested in 12 reasons why right now is a really good time to start a business, even though we're in a recession. And I think you touch on one of those, that, a small business has the opportunity right now that a larger, more established business doesn't have, where they can be more nimble and agile and react more quickly to the really changing needs of the community or of the demographic that you serve. So, right now there are so many people being laid off, and so many people considering what their next step is. And so that's a great, it's great for you to be able to speak to them directly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
It's been fun. It's been fun and challenging, of course.
Yeah, I bet.
Starting your own business is always a challenge, but it's just one of those things where you kind of just got to dive in, and that's what I tell my clients too, is make that leap, and you can do it. Anyone could start a business, and it's challenging, but it's going to be really great and rewarding, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people's value systems, or not value systems, but their values change in times like this, right? Survival puts us in a very, very different place, and our creativity shifts in different ways. And yeah, so it's really great to be able to think about the possibilities outside of what you thought they were when things were comfortable, I guess.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So what advantages do you see for yourself in starting a business right now?
Great question. Mostly it's the need that, there's a lot of people out there right now that are looking for work, or also just, maybe really reconsidering what's important to them now that they've been at home with their kids more, or, again, working out of their basement.
Right. Like we're all doing.
Yeah, like myself. And so I think it's just so many things changed all at once. And
Mhm.
I think, that's what people are kind of reconsidering is, wow, maybe I can do my job from home, or maybe I want another job that I can work from home or work from anywhere, really.
Mhm.
And so I've heard a lot of feedback from, my network that, yes, this COVID-19 time has been really challenging, juggling a lot, but it's
Yeah.
also given me some insight into what I really want as far as work-life
Yeah.
balance. Yeah.
Yeah. I have been saying that a lot, that I don't know anybody that is interested in doing post-COVID life the same as they were pre-COVID, right? Like everybody is thinking about things differently and everything looks differently than it did before.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that, also on the company side, companies are realizing that, we don't need to have everyone in the office. And,
Hmm.
especially if you have a job where you can flex your hours, maybe you do work in the evening so you can take care of your kids during the day. If
Yeah.
the work is getting done and, you can do it during off hours that aren't 9 to 5, why not?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah, I think people are getting more comfortable stepping into, I think they've been in the mindset for so long. I know I fall into this category a bit where you're just doing what you think people want you to do or what people expect you to do. And I think people are getting a little bit more comfortable kind of stepping in and asking for what they need, because they're dealing with so many things that they have not had to up until this point. So it's really cool to see people kind of stepping into their authority a little bit more.
Yes, that's a big piece of it, asking for what you want. And
Hmm.
I think companies too are hopefully just, getting a little bit more flexible and more progressive.
Hmm.
Like Google is great with their, work-life balance. I mean, they offer their employees 20% of their work time to focus on a project that motivates them. So really,
Yeah.
one day of the week, they're able to just take whatever, that whole time, that whole day, and focus on something that they're passionate about. And I think that
Yeah.
that's an important piece of it too, is giving your employees that autonomy and that flexibility and that trust.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's one of the questions that I had for you too. So I know that, your business focuses on helping people find jobs and find jobs that are meaningful to them or careers that are meaningful to them. But there's also something that starts to show up in a recession. So an employee, or sorry, an employer, you have the benefit of potentially employing more highly qualified people and paying them less, right? So you're underemploying people during this time because they're getting laid off from other jobs. And so my question is, you're working with the employees, and so if as an employer you get into that situation where you get really lucky right now and you nail like your dream employee, once we start to shift out of this recession, how do you keep people like that and keep them satisfied and happy when their opportunities start to expand? How do you keep them happy and I guess take them from a place of feeling underemployed to feeling really valued and like they don't want to leave the job that they're in right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of companies are, doing most of it, right? They're doing surveys, they're getting feedback, they're making sure that their employees feel valued, which I think is, excuse me, key. They're also, adding in professional development opportunities, which is also important. But I think if you can really focus on the individuals in the company, and really ask them important questions as to what are they looking for? Do they
Hmm.
want to move into a leadership position? Maybe they don't. Maybe they want to move to a different department, or maybe they're happy
Hmm.
where they are, but they want, something else, maybe a new project. So I
Hmm.
think if you can really individualize that process and that development, that's how you keep your great employees.
Okay.
Keeping them engaged, keeping them challenged, keeping them interested. Um,
Hmm.
And I think that ultimately a lot of companies may start hiring, outside career coaches or professional development coaches, leadership development coaches. Some already do, which is great, because a lot of times the HR departments, they just don't have the time or the tools to really support their employees in that aspect. And so there are some really great companies out there who are providing outside coaching, or even internal coaching as well. But really working with, the individuals that want to stay with the company, but maybe aren't as engaged or as motivated as they could be.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's huge. I mean, having just what I'm gathering from what you're saying is really just being in conversation with your employees, right? I think I know that every company that I've ever worked, I shouldn't say every company, but close to every company that I've ever worked for, the conversation just isn't there. And in fact, one of the very first jobs that I had that I was just so committed to, and still to this day, feel like it was a really great opportunity. But when I left, they said to me, you never asked for what you wanted. You never told us what you wanted. And that was very valid. And there's also part of me that feels like, well, that should have been a conversation that both of us were having, right? It shouldn't be solely up to the employee to be asking for coaching, to be asking for advancement opportunities, to be asking for training opportunities. It should be, a two-sided conversation, really. And that's what I'm hearing from you, is that it's all about engaging them and hearing directly from the employees what they want and what they need.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because otherwise, what happens is that they just start looking for something else. Maybe
quietly, right? Silently behind the scenes.
Exactly. Yeah. Quietly, yes, behind the scenes. And I think, it's a lot of, again, that value piece too. A lot of, managers or, leadership, the team will say, you're doing a great job, or we really value your work. But sometimes that really isn't enough. Maybe it's a compensation increase, or maybe we want to pull you from your department 20% of your time to have you work on this high level project, because we feel that you're doing amazing work for us, and we want to continue challenging you, really. So I think that's an important piece of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I think that's going to be an important thing for all of us to keep in mind, whether we're employees or employing people. And then I guess getting back to your business, I'm curious what you are doing to set yourself apart from your competitors, or that's kind of an uncomfortable word to say, but there are, other people out there in the world helping people with their careers at this time. And, it's obviously a really important time for that work. And so I'm curious how you're distinguishing yourself from them.
Yes, absolutely. And that's such an important question. I had to really think about that a lot when I was starting my business. And I think that was actually what delayed me a little bit initially, was, there's already so many career coaches out there. What's going to make someone want to work with me? And I had to really kind of dig deep and think, okay, but my strengths,
it's a reckoning, right?
My strengths are different than somebody else's strengths as a career coach. And it really is all about that connection and that relationship. And that's what I love, and that's what I'm good at. And I thought, okay, what do I do best? And who do I do it with best? And really it was women. It was back to the YWCA, where I felt like, these women were coming to me, and sometimes it was, they were going through a divorce, or they were a single mom, or they were just not happy where they were. And they needed some tools and some support. And I really, really felt like I connected with these women. And so it was a little scary to say I'm specializing in women. Not that I'm not going to work with men, but that I'm really going to focus on women. And I think that will set me apart, from other career coaches. And I'm also really focusing on that transition piece, that shifting piece of the career. And so it is hard to specialize or distinguish yourself as a career coach and not feel like you're cutting out kind of that whole other part of the population or, but I am, really open to working with, anyone who could use my support. But yeah, that was a big piece of it. And I really did have to think a lot about that is, why is someone going to choose me over someone else? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's something that, I mean, there are actually so many coaches out there that work specifically. So not just career coaches, but coaches in general that work specifically on that challenge, right? Is finding your voice and finding your true gift. And because there are so many people that are stuck in that, I think, anybody that I've talked to that is the place that they have the most challenge with, whether it's creating a business or finding the right business for themselves, or in client meetings, stating your value and really owning your value, or even just in conversations with general people, that can be something that everybody, that's hard for everybody to step into. So I think that's a really important thing to just address. And it's awesome that you were able to find it and feel comfortable with it.
Yes. Yeah. I had to just kind of follow my own, guidance. I was like, this is what I tell my clients. I need to step into that space and do it myself. And so, yeah, it was just having that confidence, right? That's a big part of it. When you're in a shift in your career, you're looking for a new job, is feeling confident. And that's a big piece of, what I work with. And as far as with my clients is, how do you get that confidence and how do you kind of, deal with rejection and maintain momentum, and, really accomplish those goals that we set together at the beginning,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's huge because I think so the confidence is so key, and getting so crystal clear on your value and your mission is so helpful, because I feel like those rejections they don't feel like rejections when you're coming from that place, when you're so crystal clear on who you are and what you value and what you're bringing to the table. It doesn't feel like a rejection. It feels like, oh, we weren't aligned. I couldn't offer, you weren't in a place to receive what I have to offer. And that feels very different than, oh, they didn't like me, or I didn't do a good job, or, something like that. It just shifts things significantly, I think.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so huge. And so I guess, we're kind of running out of time, but I want to just make sure that you have the opportunity to share any last bits of advice, or, for anybody else that might be on a similar or in a similar place to where you are now, or just starting out. Anything that you have to share with them about starting a business or owning a business, and what that looks like.
Yes, I would say, use your network. I reached out to a lot of other career coaches and asked them a lot of questions about starting their business. And that really gave me some good insight as to what it would really look like. And, would I need another, job to support my new business initially? How much is it going to cost? What does it look like as far as setting up a website? So having some other colleagues and using resources, I used the Boulder Small Business Association, who they're wonderful. They provide, free consulting, so marketing support, web design support. And so I use them too. And that really, it made me feel supported in the process. This is important because if you're doing it on your own, it can be lonely and it can just feel, like a struggle. So just like with anything, even with, your job search, ask for help, get some support. I think that's key.
Yeah, that's huge. I hear the same thing from a lot of people that it does feel really lonely, and you're not quite sure, what steps you should be taking. And so yeah, I think that's great advice to make sure that you've got people around you to support you.
Yeah, and that's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've actually had people say, I mean, I feel like I add a lot of value to businesses that is meaningful in a revenue standpoint and a passion, from a passion standpoint. But I have had people say, one of the greatest things is like, I just feel like you get me. I feel like you get what's happening in my business, and you get what's happening with me mentally, and you kind of understand the challenges that are going to come, and that just feels really good. It just feels like I'm not so alone. So it's almost like, you play this, if you're working with small businesses, you don't have to, but you get to play this kind of this support role in a different way than you maybe initially intended to. So it's pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
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 Very cool. Oh, and even these interviews and things, it's so awesome to be able to just talk shop a little bit with each other,
Yes.
and yeah, get to know each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of great resources out there, but if you can find a person, like you said, who gets you and is
Hmm.
willing to invest in you and guide you through the process, I think you'll be even more successful.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, cool. Thank you so much, Tara, for coming and sharing all of this insight. And I'm so excited to see you blossom in this new position or new company that you've got rocking and rolling. It's pretty
Oh,
awesome.
thanks, Angie. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it. So great talking
Yeah.
to you today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for anybody that's interested in finding out more about Tara's work or working with Tara, her website is Career Fit Consulting. It's on the screen for those that can see it. And so you can reach out to her there. Any other ways that you prefer people to contact you?
That's definitely the best way. You can always email me. It's just my first name, Tara at careerfitconsulting.com.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then I promised some free resources also. So for anybody that is interested in taking the leap and starting a business during this time, again, there's no reason why you shouldn't at this point. Statistically, it shows that a business has the same likelihood of success, whether it started in a bust or a boom. So this is, you can capitalize on a lot of really significant opportunities. And so if you want a full list of what those are, you can go to clutchbusinesses.com/recession. And there's a free list of 12 reasons why starting a business right now is a good idea. And you can use this then to make some steps and to put together a really clear business plan, a really clear strategy on how to build a business. So that's a tool, a resource for you. And then something else that I want to just put in your ear is that we will be launching some courses really shortly here to help you start and build the back end of your business. So all of the operations. So I will say that, and Tara has kind of alluded to this in what she said, that starting a business is no joke. There is a lot of stuff that you have to do that has absolutely nothing to do with the business that you're building, right? So nobody starts a business to process payroll every 2 weeks. It's just not fun. But you have to do it in order to support the larger vision of what you're doing. And so anyways, these courses will be set up to help you take care of all of that stuff in a day. So, rather than spending weeks or months like I did and like Tara's probably doing, you can get it wrapped up really quickly and then be on your way to doing what you set out to do and fulfill the mission of your business. So if you're interested in finding out more about those, you can go to, again, clutchbusinesses.com/courses and /online course. and sign up to get on the wait list, and we'll let you know as soon as those are live. And, in the meantime, you can, start to do some prep work and start to think about what you might be interested in doing. And one piece of advice that I have for that are, for anybody that is really terrified of starting a business in a recession or is not convinced yet that it can be a good idea, you can do some research, and there's actually some businesses out there that are like proven time and time again to be recession proof. So some things that, a couple that come to mind for me are liquor is one that never dies. No matter how good the economy is or no matter how bad the economy is, liquor thrives. And in fact, it might do better when the economy is not doing very well. And then food is another one. I'm not suggesting that anybody go into either of those industries, but those are just some examples of things that it doesn't matter how well the economy is doing. They still thrive and still make money and still profit and, employ lots and lots of people. So those are some, or that's some research that you can, fill your time with. And then please, reach out to either Tara or myself if you've got questions or want to talk any more about this. But again, thank you, Tara, so much for being here and for sharing all of your insight with us. And for anybody listening, please remember that I believe in you and I believe in your business. And thanks for listening.